Well, hello everyone. It is time to start the Simple Meal Prep Show, episode 5, and we find ourselves in a position that I've yet to be in, where I'm fully and completely in charge. It's a beautiful day out here, and I'm guessing around the world is starting to thaw out, and so I'm here by myself. So we're going to do something we haven't done yet, which is cook by myself, unless of course you're cooking along with me at home. So today we're making instant pot taco soup, and we made a similar thing in an earlier episode of a different cooking show, and we liked it, but we made a few changes to this one that I think are going to make it better. So we're just going to start running through it. So the first thing we do is we're going to put some onions in the Instapot. So I got sliced some onions. You know, everybody's favorite thing is to slice onions. Oh, and I'm forgetting. Why am I forgetting this? Forgetting my handy dandy little onion slicer. So let's put that on there. And I like my onions a little thicker sliced. So on this, I'm going every other, just because Kathy and I both really like onions, and so there's no need to dice them up real super small. Some people don't like the texture. We do, so it's all good. Also, it makes the job get over faster when you do it that way. So, I can get it off the slicer. There we go. Let's do the old-fashioned way. So we're going to put a couple tablespoons, or teaspoons rather, of avocado oil in the Instapot. We'll saute these, and then once they've sauteed for about 2 or 3 minutes, those pieces are kind of big. All right. Once they've sauteed for 2 or 3 minutes, they get kind of translucent. Then we'll go ahead and throw in 2 pounds of ground beef. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. If you're doing the vegetarian version of this, everything is pretty much the same except you put extra beans. They have more protein, and you cut out the meat. There were some people talking about maybe putting tofu in it. So there are some things you can do. Just got to find the things that work for you. All right, so let's do this bad boy. I really don't mind cutting up onions that much. We're going to try and come in on an angle here at the beginning so those end pieces aren't quite so huge. The only ones I got to worry about are getting these guys out. Come on. Maybe the key is to not stick it in so deep like you're stabbing somebody you don't like. All right. There's room here. I guess we could throw them in, can't we? Well, let's put it in the oil first. So I'm just going to throw some in there. I'm not going to worry about measuring it. It's enough that I know it'll coat the bottom of the pan. Maybe just a little bit more. Shove these in here because I'm doing my best to avoid any kind of processed seed oils because of their deleterious effects upon the human body. That means bad, by the way. We are sticking with canola oil and olive oil, depending on the use, right? So you can't use olive oil in this situation because we're going to be sauteing. That's at a high heat, and olive oil becomes toxic at a high heat. So we want to avoid toxic. It's just one of those things we like to do. So we use the avocado, which has a higher flash point. I think splash point is what they call it. Anyway, you can get it hotter before it causes any issues. All right, there we go. And again, pressed on it a little hard, but we got enough. All right. So there's my onions. So we're gonna put this bad boy on saute. It'll take just a little bit to get up to heat, and then we'll be good to go. Now this recipe should be pretty fast, and I'm doing a double batch. It calls for half a cup of onions. I just put 2 full onions in. Because, well, again, like I said, we like onions. And I believe this is all going to fit in there. If it doesn't, well, then we'll have a little bit of an issue. But as usual, we will figure it out. I need a stir stick of some sort. There we go. So with a spoon will work. That around. This is one of the few dishes where we don't have individual spices, but that's because we're going to be adding the ranch seasoning and the taco seasoning packets. I was going to make my own taco seasonings, but I think one of the things we do in the meal prep community in school, which you can check out at, I'll go slow, school.com/meal prep, is we have 2 co-prepping hours where we can come and prep whatever we want. So one of those, we do those Monday afternoon and then Tuesday morning. So you can find that schedule when you go to school.com/meal prep. But we do, one of those I will do vegetables, and I cut up all the vegetables that I need for the week for the salad, because I eat a lot of salads. These are pretty intense salads. There's 7 or 8 different types of vegetables. I make sure there's a good 40 to 50 grams of protein in it as well, whether that's cottage cheese or hard-boiled eggs or chicken or whatever I happen to be putting in it. Nuts, as sometimes is the case. So they're all very different, and they're all really delicious. A lot of tastes and textures. But one of the things I'm going to do this week is I'm actually going to start making some of my own seasoning packets so that I can get away from some of the chemicals and stuff that you know are in the ones you get in the store pre-made, because they have to stay shelf stable for so long. So I'm gonna try and make my own. And look, someone is joining. Let's see who it is, shall we? Somebody knocked on the door and we let them in. Everyone say hi to Miss Jenna.
Hello.
There goes my complete and total control of the world. How are you today, Jenna?
Cold.
Cold?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're actually in a heat wave. It's like mid-40s out here.
We we had a cold front come through, and we've had like all this hail and then snow and ice some places. And it was like short weather just a week ago. So
So nature is still very schizophrenic right now, but starting to look up around here at least. All right, so what I'm doing right now is just getting stuff ready. So I'm taking off the lids for these cans. I'm going to drain my black beans and rinse them because I have nothing else to do. Are you making the taco soup along with us, Jenna?
I am going to at some point, but the grocery store took a lot longer, and so we're still on our way home. Um, it was very interesting. I decided this time to put all the ingredients in a separate checkout, and I got grilled by the people there, like, are you taking this to a different house? I'm like, why does that matter if I'm taking these ingredients to a different house? And they were like, we just want to know. And I'm like, no, I am not. And they're like looking at me as if I'm going to explain why it's separate. And I could have pitched meal prep at that point, but I was like, I don't think we want you because you guys are being really weird. And but the total, I have some ingredients and then there's other ingredients I'm not getting because of the whole dairy-free stuff. But the total for us, and it was mostly organic, was like $30. So that'll be interesting to see how many servings we get out of it and stuff.
Supposed to be 6, and I'm making 12. So, hey, while I have to step away from camera, why don't you keep everybody who's watching at home entertained for a minute? Tell them a story about, I don't know, anything.
Okay, so there once was a. I'm just kidding. I guess I can talk about the taco soup we're gonna make. I got, it was interesting because I had some of the ingredients already, but I decided to still go ahead and buy some of the extra stuff. Like I already had an onion, but I decided to buy another onion.
Right.
And that way I could get it on the price thing. I think that if you were planning ahead and you had everything like planned out for the month, you could buy things in bulk and that would like reduce the cost as well. So,
Yeah, the way I used to do it is I'd make a month's worth of meals all at once, but now that we're cooking every week, it's very rare that I even do a double batch anymore because my freezer already had a bunch of meal prep in it, and then I'm adding 6 to 12 meals every week, and it's like, okay, gotta cut down. But yes, if you were planning ahead, you could definitely save a lot of money buying stuff in bulk.
that would be that I would think I would normally do it, at least even if I'm not cooking it, because I have that issue where I don't like to pre-cook a lot of stuff. I would still buy the stuff in bulk and then I would probably just like freeze the stuff that I'm not going to use until later.
Yeah, I'm gonna start looking for specials either because I can buy in bulk or because it's on sales for a lot of the canned stuff that we use on a regular basis. Like
Mhm.
Hormel tomatoes with chilies or Rotel, like the black beans, like the broth, a lot of this stuff. I think I can get a bunch of that in bulk and really save a good deal of money that way as well. So, all right, we are ready to add in. Let me make sure I'm the guy that tends to miss things because he reads too fast. So make sure I'm not missing anything. And we add the ground beef now. So let's throw that in.
Super cool.
My least favorite thing touching meat.
Yeah.
I mean, chicken is worse if you ask me, but
This one called for 1 pound of ground beef, right?
yeah, I'm making a double batch though because Kathy really likes this. So she talked me into 2 batches. And when I look at the ingredients, there's not really any issue with making this into a savory breakfast. So
Nice.
the only
Yeah,
thing
I
it
noticed.
does, and it even has a good deal of fiber because of the beans and the corn,
True.
so and the onions.
I I realized that if I make a double batch of this, it's gonna be a ton of protein too because the bone broth I buy um has a crap ton of protein in just the broth.
Yeah, I've never really looked at the broth and see how much protein it says it has in it.
The one that I get that is bone broth is 10 grams of protein. There's another one, but it's like $3 more and then it's 19 grams. So I'm like, should I pay the extra for the extra protein? Um,
This one only has 1 gram per serving, so it's not going to add a lot.
yeah, it's I can't remember the name of it, but it's like kettle something. And they have them in small boxes, but they've started making bigger boxes too, which is
Okay.
the smaller ones are bone, and then the bigger ones you have to read whether it's bone broth or if it's just regular broth. The regular
So,
broth doesn't have protein, but the bone broth does.
so what's the difference between, and it's something I don't know, the difference between bone broth and regular beef broth?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I think that would be an interesting thing to learn. So
Yeah.
I'll probably end up researching it. But I do know that it's healthier for you. Like when I've had to do a lot of like different kinds of recovery for injuries, I've always done bone broth. In fact, even when I'm sick, one of the things that I used to do if I was traveling is I would find like a local Chinese restaurant and get wonton soup because usually they would do bone broth with the wonton and it would help make me get better faster. So I just think that there's a lot of good things in it.
Okay. I actually was watching something that I want to try. I don't really like cooking with a whole chicken, but they showed how to take the whole chicken and chop it up, and then you put with the carcass that's left and like the wings and that kind of stuff. You throw it in the air fryer, and then you put it in the Instapot with water, and you make your own broth, strain it out, and I thought that might be worth giving a shot.
Definitely. In fact, someday I may end up doing like when we do the co-prepping stuff, I may make a day out of it where I just do my bone broth making because it's
Now,
cheaper to make it yourself.
are you using chicken or beef?
I mix it in. Like sometimes I do one, sometimes I do the other. It's just whatever I have on hand. Now I will, because I have like two deep freezers and then a regular freezer. If I'm like chopping up veggies and stuff and there's a bunch of scraps to it and I don't feel like going and taking it to the chickens, then I will just put it in a freezer bag and freeze it for the next time I do make bone broth because that's how you make vegetable stock, like the vegetable broth is by just making it just like you would do like chicken broth or bone broth or whatever. So you can just, if you were doing it with a chicken like you didn't want to, or when I make turkey and I don't want to make the broth right then, I will just put it in the freezer, like all the bones, and freeze it.
So, how do you make vegetable broth?
Um, with all the scraps, like from your prepping. So when you're
Okay.
doing meal prep, if it's the top of a bell pepper, or even with the onion skins, all of that stuff is really good for making the broth.
So maybe we should have a broth making time for the meal prep, and we could make. I have 3 Instapots. I could make vegetable,
Nice.
beef, and chicken, and but you had to cook that for a long time though, right? So
Yeah,
probably
well, I don't know
need
how it
the
would go with the Instapot.
yeah.
Probably not as long.
That might be something that'd be useful for people at home. So if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching this at school.com/meal prep, go ahead and comment if that's something that would be of interest to you to do a broth making day, because we do use a lot of broth because we do a lot of stuff. We don't do everything in the Instapot, but we do a lot of stuff in the Instapot, and so we're using a lot of broth, all 3 kinds, and that would save some money, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
I
And it's
also
healthy.
saw. Oh, go ahead.
It's healthy, and you could have it as part of like the co-prepping session where people could do when they're doing co-prepping. Just remind them, hey, we're going to be making broth this time. So save the scraps of your vegetables.
Yeah, and I saw a really interesting thing that the one guy did. He said when you're making the broth, a lot of times that takes up a lot of space in your freezer. So what he did was he boiled it down, condensed it, and then put it in 4 like he had a thing, one of those silicone things that you make ice cubes with, but they were
Yeah.
like 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide and deep. And so then he had this condensed stuff, and he would use those, and then just throw the ice cube and the stuff along with the water to make it whole. So it took up less space in the freezer, and very easy to use.
I love that. One of my favorite um hacks for prepping, yes, we are going home, is if you buy a bunch of garlic or even a bunch of onions and you blend them up like in for me it would be my Vitamix, and you pour it in your now you gotta dedicate the silicone thing to it because it's not I've never gotten the garlic smell out, but you freeze that and then you have chunks of garlic to use next time that you need to do it and you don't have to chop it all up.
So you have a cry stink fest, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Tons of onions. You have the stink fest, and then the crying, or that's the crying, and then the stink fest with the garlic, and you don't. Yeah, I just like. I'm probably gonna stick with the Lazy Man minced or diced minced garlic that's already in the jar. because I don't like messing with garlic, but maybe we'll get over that. All right, my meat is done. So I'm supposed to then put the taco seasoning over it and stir it in. So I have a full packet and I have a partial packet, and we're just gonna spice it up and use it all so I don't have any left over. So if it's a little taco-y, all right, we like tacos. Because it calls for 2 tablespoons, and I think there's, oh, no. We don't want to put all that in there. There's 6 servings, 5 servings. Yeah, that'd be a bit, 6 servings. So if that was half of a thing, that was probably 3 servings, and they are 2 teaspoons. Hold on. Gotta get the teaspoon, tablespoon. Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna throw it all in there, see what happens.
I just throw it all in there because you're also seasoning the beans with it and the onion and all that.
Let's be brave and daring and boldly go where.
But I also don't do any of the spicy stuff, so.
Well, I'm gonna be making my own this weekend, the co-prepping sessions. I wanna make my own taco stuff, because I wanna use it in my egg scrambles too. Especially if I'm using ground beef. All right, so you can probably tell at home, this smells really good.
Yeah.
If you can tell at home, that's because you've made something like it before, so you're imagining it. I understand. But it does smell really good. So what I'm doing now is I'm stirring this in, is I'm making sure that there's nothing stuck on the bottom of the pan, so I don't get a burn notice later, because those really piss me off. Because then it causes all kinds of havoc. All right, now I add the tomatoes with the juice, then the black beans and corn. So here come the tomatoes with the juice. Best thing I've ever done is putting the trash can right down there. It's not where it goes, but it works when you're meal prepping. You don't have to run around trying to, I kept running back and forth to the cabinet before. All right, do that. We add the black beans, which have already been rinsed. Oh, this is gonna be close to full, kids. And then we add the cream cheese, smaller chunks, stir it in until it starts to melt. All right, we'll stir this first. What's a thick mixture here? Yeah, we may have, we're gonna be right towards the top of the do not fill past line, so we could have our first explosions today in the meal prep show.
Oh.
I'm gonna keep going.
Is it because you're doing the double batch together?
I'm making 2 batches together, yes, because I looked at all the ingredients and I thought, oh, that's gonna be fine. And now as I look at it, I'm like, maybe it's not fine, but we'll find out.
Have you added the chicken broth yet?
Nope.
Or the broth? Oh.
No, I have not. And what I'll probably
How many Instapots do you have?
I have 3. Yes, I know. I could pull it out. I could pull half of it out, but I'm going to see where it's at. If I think it's too dangerous, then I will. Really don't want to, though. It says to cut it up into smaller chunks. Probably should have done that on a cutting board, but whatever. Get that in there, smaller chunks, they're in there. All right, I have a feeling the broth will fill in some of the, what don't look like holes in there, and we'll probably be okay. And I'll put sand in with a bunch of rocks, right? It fills in the holes. Oh, I told you guys about the meal prep community where we do other things besides this. And what I'd like to let you all know is that if you do go there, right now, you can get, because it's $10 per month to be in the community, but your first 7 days, you have a 7-day trial, so you can actually join us on the next cooking show. You can join us for the meal prep, the co-prepping sessions, and check us out, talk to people, make some friends, and see if it's something you want to play with. So. Now, Kathy bought me frozen corn instead of canned corn, so I'm estimating that this is enough. We'll see here in a bit. All right, cream cheese, serving cream cheese and ranch seasoning. So, again, being lazy, I'm just going to put in one whole thing of ranch seasoning. I don't think you can have too much. Although I do think 6 cups of liquid. I don't think there's any way this is going to work in one pot. I'm probably going to have to get out another Instapot here and I can't even find the line where it says don't fill above. Oh, well, we still got a little bit of, I got a little bit of room. I got to add corn yet too. All right, let's see. Chicken stock.
You go. Place all your bets on it's gonna have to get out another Instapot.
That would be a well, it's not gonna be a fail, I guess. We found a solution, but man, I don't want to. All right, let's add. There's no way in hell. I'll move the camera over here in a minute after I get this corn stirred in. I don't think there's any way that juice is all going to fit in there because that's a 1.5 of these. All right. Well, Jenna, I'm glad you're here because you get to entertain again while I go find another Instapot. Don't tell everybody.
I am finally arriving home, so I'm gonna get started, but I am doing it again just on the stove. I have my Instapot. I know where it is. I've gotten it out. I still prefer to use the stovetop. So this is one of those things where it's very common that I do what I want. And I think if I was going to, because I bought 2 pounds of ground beef, but I plan on just doing 1 pound for the recipe. I'll probably still, when I'm browning the meat for the taco soup, I'm still gonna brown the other pound because for me, what helps with meal prep is just having a bunch of ingredients that are partially ready to put together and make a meal later. So if I have the ground beef available, then I can just throw it into whatever I want to make. So if I want to make nachos or if I want to make like a morning hash with potatoes or something, then I have that extra pound already cooked.
All right, this is not, I can't find my other Instapot, which is an actual Instapot. This is a knockoff on New Wave. Very similar, but the instructions or the controls are a little different, but I think I can figure it out. So this is how big how full my pot is. You tell me, Jen, if you think I can fit.
You're not gonna fit both those broth things in there. No way.
I cannot do the magic. All right. All right, so I guess we'll scoop about half of it in here. I'm going to actually pour in the broth over here first.
I just realized as soon as it's after party, there's news I gotta say.
Okay.
Um, Dominic, that's not
That's the thing,
nice.
kids, when you don't join us on the channel, you do not have the chance to be with us live and be on the after party. And the after parties are sometimes the most fun part. Not gonna lie. All right, so ingredients are not going to be perfectly split up here, but I don't think that's going to matter.
Get me out of
Hey, Dominic.
here. We just parked and he's immediately saying, "Get me out of here now."
He wants to be outside.
Exactly. What a shocking revelation.
All right. So let's see how even I think we've got this. Actually, I don't think it's half bad. They look about the same thickness. All right. Make sure that I have not forgotten any ingredients, but everything's gone, so I'm guessing we're okay. Let's see. All right, this is one of those that does not take very long to cook. Now, it takes a while to come up the seal, obviously. If you ever used an Instapot, it takes about 8 to 10 minutes, depending on how warm things are from the sauteing still and your Instapot, how frantic it is to heat up. Mine usually is right about 10 minutes. So we'll get this one started first. Once it gets up to seal, it's only going to cook for 5 minutes. This is our second week in a row where we've had something that doesn't take very long. And then we do a quick release. So turn the warm off. And let's see if I can figure this one out. Sure, it's sealed. And start, stop. All right, I'm going to have my glasses. I know everything's bad on mine. This one, on the other hand. Guess we put it on soup. Because I don't trust this one, I'm going to go for 60 just because. Cool.
One thing that I think will be interesting when we do the pricing stuff too is normally I try to get at least a quarter of a cow. So I'm gonna have to figure out what that changes for the pricing every time.
You don't like this one. Just gonna say it. I don't like this one. You know what I'm gonna do?
I'm gonna give it away.
Well, I'm gonna go online and try and find a manual, but I'm just gonna cook mine and then put this back into the other one and cook it over there. So we'll do that after we during the after party or something. All right. So it's time to go through some of the stats. Let me get some of this out of the way here. The average price of making this, according to Chat LGPOT thingy, whatever he is depending on what part of the country or the other two countries that I looked up, because we have people from Denmark and from Dubai who play along with us. So the cost was anywhere from $1.17 to $2 per serving to make this at home. prices may vary, because it also depends on what ingredients you use, you know, how fancy you get, et cetera. But that's the average according to chat. The average restaurant to eat something similar is between $7 and $14 per serving. Now that, my friends, is a bit of a difference. So this is one of the reasons why we like our meal prep, is because, turn it so I can see it. Sure we're still sealed. Okay, it's because not only can we make sure that we're using ingredients that we want, like the aforementioned avocado oil instead of highly processed seed oils, and trying to get rid of as much of the chemical crap as we can, we save a lot of money. So we also can make it the way we want, and we can make it so that we don't have to cook every day, and we can still eat great. So that's the thing. I wanted to look real quick and get the macros for you guys. I have them on here, so let me just tell you where we're at on that. So if you make it per the recipe, it will serve 6 people, 456 calories for the meal, 26 grams of protein, which is a good amount, but I want more. 30 grams of carbs, 26 grams of fat, and 7 grams of fiber. So that's a good amount of you know, pretty balanced all the way across. You know, anytime you can, you want to make sure that the things you're eating, that you can try to get a 4-to-1 ratio between between protein and carbs, and this is almost even, so that's even better. And by the way, the 1 is typically, with the American diet, that's 4 grams of carbs to every gram of protein in a lot of the stuff that's out there. So the more we get our protein up, the better it is. So I would have probably, if I was making that on the stove, where it's a little faster to do the meat, I would probably double the meat. But I like meat. But I can just add other things, other sides to go with this, to up the protein for me, because I'm trying to get between 45 and 50 grams of protein in my meals. But at 26, I'm cool with that as a good starting point. So, yeah, really fast meal to make. And if you have multiple Instapots, or you want to use your stove or your oven or your air fryer or whatever other things you have, you could be cooking other things while this is going. Or what I would do when I was doing a lot of batches, if I know this is something that's in the permanent rotation, I would have this one going and I'd have the next one ready, right? I'd be sauteing my meat on the stove. I'd have the onions all cut up. Well, I do saute the onions and the thing on the stove. I'd have all the beans ready to go. I'd have all the other ingredients ready, and then just plop it in as soon as this is out, and boom, and make the second batch of it. And that really cuts down on the amount of time that it takes to make a good number of meals, whether it's because you've got a family of 4 or because you're trying to make meals like I used to for 2 people, but enough to last for the month, right? So I could cook 3 or 4 things, make double batches of those, and I'd have most of our dinner or lunch needs taken care of for the month, and save a lot of time and money. And then all I got to do, thaw it out a couple days before, heat it up, and eat it. So that's just some of the good stuff about meal prep that make it worth doing. And then the fact that we can do it with friends on a Sunday like this just makes it even better. I'll allow you to agree with me if you would on that part.
I'm trying. My hands are full because I was taking out the trash first. It's like when I have the door open, I know my kid's going to be out. I might as well get all the things that I have to do outside done. So, but yes, it makes it fun.
The other thing you can do, which I don't typically do when we're doing these live, is you can go over and do all your dishes, and all your dishes are done before you're even done cooking, except for the Instapot, which is the easiest thing in the world to clean. It's just steel wool and some soap. So it's not like when you're cooking on the stove and you got stuff all over, and you know, part of the worst part of it sometimes is the cleanup. Cleanup on these meals that we make, at least, is pretty darn fast and easy, and that's another thing that I really like about it. So, all right. Did you make the what we made last week, Jenna?
What was last week?
Chicken teriyaki stir fry bowls.
No, I did not.
I'll tell you.
I've been out of touch for the last 2 weeks because I had my niece for spring break and then the emergency surgery for that kid. So been pretty crazy here.
Just gonna let you know that is definitely on the permanent rotation. So we ever take a week off or we do broths 1 week or whatever, so that I can make something that we really like, that's definitely on the list. So
It's on the list.
oh yeah, that was frickin' delicious.
Awesome.
And I made rice in one of the co-prepping things, and I instead of using water,
Mm-hmm.
used broth and a little bit of butter, and used the rice cooker, which is even better than the Instapot for rice. And it was so delicious. And then I also made Protein Plus, the Barilla brand, pasta, and that was really good too. And adds 10 grams of protein to the meal. That stuff is all gone, except for one that I put in the freezer with the noodles, because I want to see how the noodles hold up when you freeze them. But they were so much like regular, a lot of the noodle substitute things are like the texture is off or the taste is crap.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, the taste was great. The texture was good. A little bit heavier, but you'd expect that when it doesn't have all the gluten, right? That's what fluffs them up. So yeah, it was really good. But I just want to see how they hold up in the freezer, and if they do, then that's going to be something I look for in bulk as well, because I might have some pasta that doesn't send me through the ceiling. That's a good thing.
That's awesome. I mean, as long as the texture's cool, then I can do it. But because I'm supposed to do gluten-free stuff, man, it's not. It is not my favorite.
I don't remember if it's gluten-free. I thought it was, but I don't remember, and I only have the one thing, so I don't have the package here. But they have spaghetti and all different kinds of pastas with it. But I think it had chickpea and other things for the instead of using the flour. So I was mostly looking for something that would have
Or protein.
and not all the crap in it. And the list of ingredients, again, I didn't spend a ton of time studying it, but the list of ingredients was shorter than a lot of stuff. So it looked pretty good at first blush.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing. When there's less ingredients, it also tends to be more expensive, which is funny.
This was not bad though. This was $2 or $3, like a normal big box of
Heck
pasta.
yeah.
So I didn't find it to be stupid expensive like those. I did get these. I really don't want them in my life. I'm hoping that Kathy's daughter likes them, because she's also doing these organic new pasta, the cognac fettuccine or konjac or whatever, pronounce something weird. They're gluten free. Yeah, I did not like, and I'm not a guy that has an issue typically with texture, but it was gross. I took a bite and spit it out. We'll just say that's never going in my mouth again. So, but they're very expensive. I mean, this pack is like $7.
Oh yeah. It looks like the glass noodles.
Yeah, I don't know what they are. They're gross as hell. So I've got 3 of them looking for a good home or a trash receptacle.
Where you find somebody that has chickens.
There you go. There you go. Or I'm about to, because of all the vegetable prep that we do, I'm about to start making I'm going to put a
compost.
Yeah, make a compost pile out there and
I think one thing that people should know is like if they have a ton of scraps and leftovers, if you reach out to some egg people, they'll sometimes do a trade, and with eggs, it's worth it.
I will keep that in mind. I haven't yet started searching for egg people around here. I knew somewhere our last house was, but not over here. We're deep in the
'Cause
city of Portage.
there's some people that like they have extra eggs too, but it's not enough for them to like go into selling them. Like just local people, they're like, I have too many chickens, but I really like these chickens. And they lay a lot. They'll be happy to take scraps and trade because then their chickens are getting more healthier things.
Yeah, I'll look around for that.
That's something I would do if I was Microgreens Mike. So I would find the ones that have the chickens that would love those microgreen trace that are left over.
Thinking about going down there and getting a truckload of dirt and using it in my lawn.
Right?
Come up fine, but I don't really care. All right, we're about up to pressure. About to start. Yep.
We got all our veggies for co-prepping too. Dominic's excited. He got to pick them out.
Are you going to join us on Tuesday morning with Mary Ann?
Possibly.
That's usually our. I do my veggies on that day because I know she's doing veggies, so she cheats though and washes fruits as well and counts that as prep.
Hey, it is prep. You weren't going to eat it unwashed.
They're doing, real vegetables, and she's only doing half.
I got snack trays for Dominic that are like little individual ones for him. And he's so excited because all he does is he wants one of those. He'll eat the entire thing too. So I'm excited to start doing the co-prep with y'all. So he has his little veggie trays.
Yeah, it's funny how kids will find things like that. Because like Marianne's youngest son now can't get enough of raw cabbage.
Wow.
So she has to do, all right, it started 5 minutes, kids, and then we're going to see what she tastes like. And she has to do raw cabbage every week because he just wants to sit there and eat it. So that's not a bad habit to get into if you're a kid.
No, that's awesome.
All right.
We have a gorilla cart, and because it's rained so much, the gorilla cart is halfway full of water. And Dominic has found it while I'm trying to bring groceries in. So I was going to start cooking right after this, but it looks like I'm going to be warming his hands up.
Yeah, I love my gorilla cart. It's my second one.
Those are the best purchases ever.
Yep. Those big old tires, when I put the hot tub in, I brought in, I don't know, probably 30 bags of pea gravel.
Uh-huh.
And it was when my back was not doing all that well, but I could just put a couple at a time and drag it with those big wheels. You really makes a big difference. And picking up sticks and stuff, you can.
I love that you can flip it and like let it dump.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it is, I did a ton of research before I bought it too. Because I was like, oh, it's kind of expensive, but it's like when you have one that's worth it, I mean, buy it once, not have to worry about it again.
Yeah, I'm about to get I want to get a small electric chainsaw to clean up some of the brush that's out here because people in the past have just piled it up. And I want to clean it up. Plus, we got a bunch of garbage sprouts and trees going up there, and I just wanna go get rid of them, and then just toss them in the gorilla cart, take them over there, and they'll be ready to burn in the fire pit, so.
Perfect. I there's a I want to build my greenhouse now that we've got like we're on this property for good. Um, but a trick that I've seen that people do with the Gorilla carts or carts similar to that is they will fill it up with dirt and plant dwarf fruit trees that normally wouldn't do well in your climate, but you can put them in the greenhouse during the winter because all you do is you lift up the Gorilla cart and just take it in there, and you don't have to worry about trying to like lift up a pot or something. So I might end up doing that eventually because
Is there enough room for their roots though?
not the deep ones. There's a special type of Gorilla cart that is like short and deep, and for a dwarf, it's okay.
Well, it looks like we're under 2 minutes, so I guess we've got to move our expensive studio camera equipment, which is a laptop with a webcam set on top of a box, so that we can get ready to try this and put the other one in.
Oh, very nice.
I think what I'm going to do is put them in the glass containers. In the past, I was using single serve plastic containers, but these are 35-ounce glass containers. The lid's sealed, and so you can use them in the fridge, the freezer, the microwave, the oven. And they hold, typically, with a lot of stuff, they'll hold 2 to 3 meals worth of food. We'll see how this one goes. But I'll get a scooper. Almost done. And we're done. Well, we're at least a bunch of steam. Train is coming into the station. Whenever there's a bunch of liquid, it takes longer for the steam to release. When there's not a lot of liquid, it's pretty fast. This is going to be a long one. But the other thing it does that's good is it makes your kitchen smell delicious. Hey, Cass, do you know where the little Instapot is? Did we put it in the RV? I couldn't find it. It was on the fridge out there. This had to be split into 2. We were about to overflow. Jenna was afraid there would be an explosion if I tried it. Come smell this. Say hi to Kathy, everybody.
Say hi, Dominic. Hi.
Hi, Dominic. There you go, Dominic. Stereo salutations.
Yeah.
Here, you can have this.
Nasty.
Wanna go fishing?
No.
Dominic, do you like tacos?
Yeah.
You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this soup then when your mom makes it. Ooh, we're boiling like crazy in there.
No, pick it out.
It's slippery.
Cream cheese is never totally mushed up. It will over time if you don't get it totally meshed up, at least with the chicken chili. It always finds the white chicken chili, it always seems to do it on its own if necessary, but that's mostly done. We'll give this to Kathy to try. And I'm going to start scooping it into bowls so I can get the next batch going. Let's do this. I have to let it cool off. Kathy likes things supersonic hot. I don't know how she does it, but she does. She got some tortilla chips. Oh, this looks so good. I'm not just saying that because I'm making it. You often wonder when you're watching cooking shows if they actually like this stuff or if they're just saying it so they get more clicks, but this actually does look good. Obviously, I'm not going to put the lid on it just yet because we need that to cool off. Oh, also, while you guys are out there watching this on YouTube, we appreciate that you have probably already subscribed, but whether you have to force people or trick them into it, if you get more people to subscribe, we would love it. So feel free to coerce whoever you need to do to help our subscriptions go up. We will be live streaming in the very near future. So you'll be able to cook along with us, not like those who are in the meal prep community, because they can actually be one of the live people. You'll be able to cook along with us as we live stream if you wish as well. So, you know how on Diary of a CEO and other podcasts, they say, hey, the more subscribers we get, the better the guests we can get. Well, we can't promise that, but we'd still like you to find some subscribers for us if you don't mind. All right, so you see how much I got out of that. I've got a little bit of scraping to do on that on the bottom. So I've got 3 containers. If I poured this one in here, what I put in the bowl, I'd have 3 very full containers of soup. So I'm going to just, it's getting close. I think I can probably handle this. Nice big pieces of onion. That's the way I like that. Get some beef in there. Oh boy, it's still really hot. Yeah, that's an explosion of flavor. I'm glad I put the extra taco seasoning in. I've got a little bite to it. That's super good. Yeah, when we made it before, we didn't put the corn. I don't think we had the black beans in it either. And that makes this a whole lot better. So, I'm going to steel wool this pot real quick, pour this in, cook it up, make my next batch, And, not even an hour. We didn't get started till about quarter after, I think. So, more like 45 minutes to make this, and it's gonna take me no time at all to make the next batch. So, this is a very fast, inexpensive, easy to make, frickin' delicious meal that I think you're gonna like. So, give it a try, and if you did like it, let us know in the comments below, either on YouTube or at school.com/meal prep, and we'd love to hear your comments. And if there's other things that you've added to it to make it suit your personality and your preferences, let us know, because maybe some of us like that as well. Some of our best improvements on recipes have come because somebody said, I think that tastes good with mushrooms. Always gets me because I like mushrooms. But that's it for this week. Anything you want to add, Miss Jenna, before we go to the after party that everybody wishes they could participate in?
We have a crying baby. You don't want to hear anything here for a second.
Okay. All right. No crying babies. Well, the after party, we can do that. But all right. You guys have a great week. Thanks for joining us. And feel free to like, subscribe,